Hi, readers. Welcome back. Welcome to session 2. Readers use text structures to organize incoming information and notes. To get ready for today's session, you will need your books that you're reading on the American Revolution subtopic. You will need something to write with to take your notes, whether it's a Google Doc or it's a reading composition notebook. If you need to pause the video right now to go get those things, please do so. Otherwise, let's begin. So, readers, before I go any further, I want you to think about why we're studying the American Revolution at all. Why is it such a big deal? Why, out of all the possible topics we could be investigating, why are we studying this one? Now, I just want you to think. Maybe talk to the screen, talk to somebody at home. Give the person at home a little persuasive speech, maybe on why it's important to maybe study the American Revolution. What do you think? Start with a claim. Studying the American Revolution is important because I'll give you a moment to do that. Okay. I know you're having thoughtful ideas. Before the revolution started, there were a lot of colonists who did what you just did now. They argued for the importance of the revolution. I'm going to show you a clip of a speaker, Patrick Henry, who stands up for independence. Listen carefully to see if you can hear how he organizes his ideas. Before we get started, I want to remind you some typical ways that information texts tend to be organized. And when people speak, as when they write, they often use text structures to organize their ideas. Structures like, you probably remember them, main idea and supporting details, cause and effect, problem solution, and so on. And here they are. You'll remember these from previous learning in previous units. Take a look to remind yourself of them. Chronological or sequential, compare and contrast, cause and effect, problem solution. Some even say boxes and bullets. As we watch the video, I want you to keep these text structures in mind.
We must fight. An appeal to arms and the God of hosts is all that is left to us. They tell us, sir, that we are weak, unable to cope with so formidable an adversary. But when will we be stronger? Will it be the next week or the next year? Will it be when we are totally disarmed and when a British guard is stationed in every house? Shall we gather strength by irresolution and inaction? Shall we learn the means of effectual resistance by lying supinely on our backs and hugging the delusive phantom of hope? Sir, we are not weak if we make use of those means which the God of nature hath placed in our power. 3 millions of people armed in the holy cause of liberty, and in such a country as that which we possess is invincible to any force our army can send against us. There is a just God who presides over the destinies of nations, who will raise up our friends to fight our battles for us. The battle, sir, is not to the brave alone. It is to the vigilant, the active, the brave. Besides, sir, we have no election. If we were base enough to desire it, it is now too late to retire from the contest. There is no retreat but in submission and slavery. Our chains are forged. Their clanking may be heard on the plains of Boston. The war is inevitable, and let it come. I repeat, sir, let it come. It is in vain, sir, to extenuate the matter. Gentlemen may cry peace, peace, but there is no peace. The war is actually begun. The next gale that sweeps from the north will bring to our ears the crash of resounding arms. Our brethren are already in the field. Why stand we here idle? What is it the gentlemen wish? What would they have? Is life so dear and peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God! I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death!
Okay, so what are you thinking about the text structure of this piece? I'll give you a moment to think about it. Okay, so I bet some of you noticed that Patrick Henry's speech may have took a boxes and bullet structure, with the big idea being we must fight and the supporting details provided after. Others of you may have noticed a problem and solution structure, where Henry listed a number of problems posed by the British and how fighting could help the colonists solve those problems. But here's what I want to teach you today. Today, I want to remind you really that when you look over a nonfiction text thinking, how is it structured? It helps to have a handful of optional text structures in mind. Often history texts are structured either chronologically, step by step, or in a cause and effect structure, or in a problem solution structure. So, readers, sometimes when I read nonfiction, there are so many facts coming at me at such a fast clip that I sometimes feel overwhelmed. I think I can't memorize everything and I'll never learn everything that this text is teaching me. Sometimes I feel like giving up trying to grasp the content of the text. But then I remind myself of something that I want to remind you of as well. And this is it. It can help to really think underneath all the fast flying facts. How is this structured? Because if I can find that text structure, I can figure out what to pay attention to and what to ignore for now. Do you remember earlier this year when we watched the video of the oryx at the Phoenix Zoo? When we started watching the video, we were frantic to write down all the facts. The oryx is white, they're fat and happy. Then I realized, wait a minute, hold it. This is a newsreel about an animal that is endangered, and the zoo is helping to solve that problem. It's a problem solution text. This helped me take organized notes on just the important parts of the text. So let's watch another video. And this time, this is one in which a historical figure, Samuel Adams, gives a speech to make the colonists realize how badly the British were teaching them. So let's watch together and think, how is this text structured? What are some key words from the common nonfiction text structures chart we just saw that we're hearing that might help us decide what structure the text is in? Let's watch.
Gentlemen of Boston, the hour has arrived. Please. Gentlemen, you know me as Sam Adams, neighbor and friend. Hear me now. Parliament continues to treat us with ill will. First, the Sugar Act raised our taxes. Did we have a say? The answer is nay. Then, the horrid Stamp Act nearly drove us to ruin. And who can forget our brothers who lost their lives in the Boston Massacre?
Okay, let's stop to think. Okay, so we've got our text structures, and I've got it right here. Let's think what text structures might apply here. Thinking boxes and bullets, chronological, cause and effect, problem solution, and compare and contrast. Well, let's take a look. Gentleman hour, General Boston hours, right? Please, gentlemen, you know me. It's sort of an introduction. Parliament continues to treat us with ill will. That seems like it's a problem. So maybe I'm thinking problem solution. But then look right here. It says first, the Sugar Act. Okay, so now I'm thinking, is this problem solution or is this chronological? Oh, do we have any say? The answer is nay, more problems. Then, I'm deciding whether this is problem and solution or chronological. Stamp Act drove us in ruin. And so it looks like first, then, and who can forget our brothers who lost their lives. Ooh, all these problems. And now more chronological, more sequential. The Governor Hutchinson insists on collecting a Parliament's t-test, but did we have a vote? No. Okay, so I'm noticing here that it could be a number of things, right? There's a number of clues that say this could be chronological. There are other clues that see that like this could be problem and solution. So when we're reading for text structure, the structure is pretty evident. Knowing that's organized chronologically or sequentially helps us understand because the structure draws our attention to the most important parts. But you could make a case that this was also problem and solution, whether or not you think the solution was that they're going to try to fight. All right, but let's look at another text, and I'm hoping you can try and help me out this time. Okay, so this is a different subtopic that led us up to the revolution. This isn't a primary text like the first two texts we saw, which were texts that were written by people in the time. This is a secondary text. So let's watch it, and we want to listen for that text structure. Listen for words that clue you in. Is this chronological, cause and effect, problem solution? How is it structured? Okay. Some left in search of religious freedom. The king and most Englishmen belonged to the Church of England. People who tried to worship differently were thrown in prison or even hanged. Others left because they were poor and hungry. They hoped to find jobs and food in America, and some hoped to grow rich. In England, a poor farmer couldn't be a respected landowner. If your parents were poor, you too would probably be poor all your life. But in America, if you worked hard, you might become one of the richest people in the land. It wasn't easy, but it was possible. America was the land of liberty. So which keywords are you noticing here, right? What text structure is this leading to for you? I'll get you started by highlighting a few as a possibility, right? What are you thinking? Pause the video. If you have somebody to talk to at home, talk to them. Talk to the screen, right? Talk to yourself. What are you thinking the text structure might be? Some of you are noticing this word up here. Why, right? I bet you thought that this text might be organized as cause and effect. Some of you might have organized it as problem and solution, all the problems that caused them to leave and the solution to leaving. And that works too. There's often more than one way to name a text structure. So, readers, like yesterday, you and your group, whether you're working in person or online, will read a text that you will have duplicates of. Maybe so you could read the same text, you could read in sync with one another. And then when you start the second text, and I know you could be finishing yesterday's text too, remember to preview it together. If you can, get in a breakout room or call them up or talk to them. When the organization of a text seems clear, flag the natural pausing points. And when I say flag, get out small Post-its or little sticky flags that you can use for natural stopping spots. For instance, they look like these, or just regular Post-its. In car races, they use flags to let drivers know to slow down and get ready for a change ahead because the track is wet or because something is on the track. In your reading, you'll be placing these flags, these Post-its really, where you notice the structure of a text, it seems to be changing. So when you read, the flag can remind you to get your mind ready to read the upcoming part as a new structure. The flag can also signal for you to take a second and talk things out to digest what you just read. And here, of course, are some times where you might flag in your text. Take a moment to look at this chart to see if there are any places that you might be alert to when you're flagging your text. Then again, today I'm going to be inviting you to flag parts of your text that show the text structure is changing. So readers, remember, today and any day you're reading informational text, take a second to figure out how the text is organized so that it can help you how to organize and prioritize all that information that's coming at you. I will be looking forward to hearing about your flags, and so will your teacher. Off you go.